Mary.
Hello. Hello, IFC Midnighters.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Today we are going over Rust Creek. I think it's 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
And rated R. It was rated R. Did you get a feeling that it would be a rated R movie?
Oh, definitely rated R.
I would guess so. I mean, there's enough carnage, I guess, to qualify, but
I don't know. I didn't really feel like. Now, how do you say the main character? Her name's Sawyer, but how do you say her? Hermione.
Hermione. That's how I would say it.
Yeah, Hermione. She's an English actress.
She was in The Last Jedi. I looked that up. I was like, wow, I don't remember her in there.
Yeah, I didn't know she was in that.
Me either.
Yeah, seems like she's a rising star over in the UK. Hermione Corfield. Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, Mary, this movie is very, very well acted.
That's what I was thinking. They had some, like, even the sheriff, the cruddy sheriff, was a good actor.
Yeah, he's a good character actor. Been in a lot of higher budget films, and plus smaller, more independent stuff too. So.
I didn't look him up, but he looked familiar too.
Well, on they have on the back, they have some special features on the back of the DVD, and he says that he comes from comedy. As background is comedy, but man, he was just.
And he was brutal.
He was, yeah, but it wasn't just a simple. It wasn't just a it wasn't a draw by numbers. Typical bad guy. I mean, you could see who he was and how he was, and you knew at one time he was a good sheriff at one time, but you've got the feeling. You just get the feeling that he just got eroded. He got worn down.
Were you living up there? Sorry, man. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know that he was ever a good sheriff or whatever. I sort of felt like he was like that. Sort of that psychopath type of person who can put on a good face and is like affable, but actually just has no empathy for anyone.
Yeah. None.
He definitely seemed like the power of the position had corrupted him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because of the line he kept repeating throughout the movie about
that
he was the chief.
Where they lived is out in the middle of nowhere. There's not a lot of job opportunities, I guess, and he wanted to retire early.
But that's sort of that psychopath mindset, like a Ted Bundy type, where they're all about control. They can come off very charming and affable, but underneath it all is just like some sort of callous, non-empathetic person. That's you have to sort of be that. You can't just be worn down and be like, oh, I'm going to kill my friend who I work with every day because I don't want to get caught for some shit,
Yeah.
You have to be that kind of snake, the worst kind of snake that will bite before it rattles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But think about it. Every snake is harmless until you get into its orbit, until you come to them. If you're 10 yards away from a rattlesnake, you're no danger at all, or a copperhead, you're not in any danger at all.
So that's what Sawyer did. She pretty much drove her car into the snake pit.
Yeah.
So she was I guess, a really smart kid, right? Was she in Track Star too? Is that what was the deal?
I don't know. I
didn't get into that much.
No, I think the opening scene of her running, I think it's established her as being ambitious and on the go and
independent.
Definitely athletic, and she's got some skills that we didn't see right away that we saw later. So.
Hi. Yeah,
she's sort of like a, and this may not be very nice to say, but I'm just gonna. I mean, it's just what I thought when I was watching it. She looked like a healthier Anna Joy Taylor. You know,
Okay,
from the I mean, she looked healthier, but that's what she had that same style of look about
From
her.
all that running.
Blonde and cute, and you know, and full of pep, but healthier looking.
I don't know. I didn't catch what job she was going for either. She was driving up there to go for the job interview, but I didn't know what job she was going for. If they said that, I missed that part too.
I don't think
if they did.
I think she had been an intern before. I think because she interviewed really well, because on the message says, you know, we seen your work, and you know like they've already, you know, or seen her work, had already had another interview with her. They seemed really impressed, and you know, like she had made, like, you know, like a cut, you know, for the next round of interviews. And
So come here and we'll interview you here. To West Virginia, right?
Kentucky.
Is it Kentucky? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Driving into Kentucky. Jesus. No. Some of those places are a little scary. Yeah, you need gas. You get the ones that are right on the road. We've been on exits where they just keep on going and going and going. So we don't run out of gas before we hit the gas station. This feels like a setup. Turn around, let's get out. She packs her stuff and heads out on the road, driving by herself. So she's again being independent, driving on her own, and she seems like she knows what she's doing. She looked up the map and everything, right?
Yeah, she programmed her. I think she had programmed it into her phone, or into her GPS, and you know, she was doing that. But then, you know, the GPS, and anybody's had a GPS certainly can relate to what happened to her. I mean, we had a GPS, and it would do that. You know, like steer you wrong. You know, like make a left 100 yards, and there's nothing there, but there's nothing there to turn into. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely more noticeable when you get into a more rural setting, because there are certain roads that don't get mapped, and or that, you know, that's what happens, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah, that happens down here. They have a lot of new roads, and they're huge. People end up going the wrong way on them. They're like 10 lanes across on the one. It's like, holy shit. Wouldn't catch me on that one. Yeah, and she gets stuck in traffic. So the GPS says to make a turn. So she, you know, makes her turn. And you can see it's getting into like a poorer area. You know, the road's thin. Like there's only 2 lanes.
Right.
It's it's starting to get a little non-rural.
You know, you definitely see that. You know, you definitely could tell that. I was actually, I don't know. I've never been to Kentucky, so I don't know. But I thought, you know, I thought it was a little bit more. I thought it was a little bit more mountainy, but that one seemed more like, you know, really rolling hills, like, you know. And I thought the roads looked better than the houses beside them.
Yeah, that road's better than mine.
Yeah, I was sitting there going like, wow, what's the secret? Because your roads they look immaculate.
They pave them out there in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so she pulls down a road, and it told her to turn down another road, and I think she turned around, and those Buck and Hollister seen her turning around.
You know, what's funny is like they sort of overreact. What do you think, Ben? You think they overreacted when they saw her turn the car down the road? I mean, it looked like you couldn't. Well, for one thing, she wasn't looking for him, and two, they seemed to be behind some brushes. I just didn't understand that, because it was like, man, you can't see him. You couldn't see those two at all. Those two guys were like, you know, I don't even know if you could even have seen them if you were looking for them because they were in the brush. But but that's the paranoia of the country, right? I think
Well,
that's really
they
what.
probably were aware that the GPS would take people down there, and it's just like
Oh, I don't know if
hunting
they.
all day long and just pick people off. That's why they had all those cars.
They
I
probably
don't know.
they
Go ahead, Ben.
probably didn't even really like need a reason. They just wanted to
Yeah.
fuck it up, you know? They're just dickheads.
And considering what they were doing, I mean, they felt comfortable enough in that area to do that during the broad daylight. So I guess they didn't expect anyone to be driving that way at all. So
Right. I mean, even on the best of days. Yeah, and they. I wonder if either one of them knew what a GPS was.
The what?
I wonder if either one of them, Buck or Holly, knew what a GPS was.
Well, they
I would
probably.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, they just, probably didn't have one. They stole it off somebody.
Probably the guy who they buried.
Right.
Well, there's no service up there anyway for them to have like a GPS or cell phones or anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need it.
But of course, I mean, if you watch like any movies or TV or anything, which I'm sure they probably did, then you understand what cell phones and GPS are, right?
I think you probably would have been more used seeing, satellite dishes than anything else out there.
Yeah, no cable. We didn't have cable when we were up on the hills like that. You were lucky if you got antenna TV. And satellite, it was like the size of your living room.
Yeah.
That thing was huge. For some reason, she gets out of her car and puts her map on the hood of the car to look at it. And that's when the fellas come wheeling up on her. I don't know. I know she wanted to spread it out, but I would have checked it inside my car.
Yeah, or at least when she saw pulling up, maybe get back in the car then. But
definitely.
Yes.
Well, she was like, "Where am I?" But yeah, there's two guys. I'm heading right back to my car. I'm gonna walk backwards.
Just the odds are not in your favor if there's one of you and a group of people coming up, 2 or more. Or whatever.
I mean, maybe I'm just like, maybe I'm not a female or not, like, maybe I'm naive or something, but like, if I'm like driving around a lot and I want to stretch my legs or whatever, I'll get out. And then like, if people walk up, I'm not going to be all freaked out or anything. Right. I mean, it's just like, until they start acting funny. Right. I mean, then it's like, hey, this, you're clearly
get that gut feeling.
Yeah.
You'll know. Yeah. That's a creep. It's a creepy dude. They were creepy. They look creepy. It's not the flannel. Flannel's cool.
And I mean, they really had no reason to do what they did because she clearly didn't see them like they thought that she did. So when you realize that, they should have just let it go and went on their way. But
they really should have.
They obviously wanted more than just, and it seemed like maybe this wasn't the first time they'd done something like that either. Maybe I don't know.
And and she was cautious, and she knew that the whole you could sense the whole situation tensed up. Is that when he kept the map and he started walking to his truck? As soon as that happened, you're going like and she could see her whole face. Her face is like, okay, so this is not a good place to be.
And he blocked her car door too. With his ass.
He walked back over there and he did that. Boy, I gotta tell you, that fight scene is one of that was hella cool. They thought they got themselves a young, naive girl, easy pickings, and she just weighed lace to them. That was badass.
And then she snatched up Buck's knife and got him with it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, she fucked up Holly first, then Buck. Yeah. I mean, she wasted them both. I mean, and it looked easy doing it too, because they completely underestimated her. They thought they were a good intimidator, and they didn't realize that she has some self-protection skills, and
Yeah,
she
she
did that.
must have took a few courses in college.
Something. She was a badass.
She
I like that
broke his
scene.
nose, broke I think Hollister and Buck's nose, and kicked him in the face and took the guy's knife, but to get the knife off her and stab her in the leg, right? I think it's upper thigh.
Yeah,
it
she was lucky.
was.
I
Yeah,
thought he
she
got her in the back of the calf, but
I did too initially. I
Then-
thought that too. Going like that's a
right,
pretty
like
high
she
stab
was running
wound.
away, and he was like, ah, and then all of a sudden she's in the woods, and it's okay, she's stabbed in the thigh. Ah,
Yeah, the wound was on the front when she was, tending to it, but you think it would have been from the back unless it went all the way through. But
to change their wound site.
And that's funny you mentioned that because they were talking about that and behind the scenes, talking about how important the continuity was, and how they worked on Sawyer's clothes to make sure to show the blood the blood shed as it got deeper the more she was out there the lower it got down on her pants like it showed how deep the cut was.
I like it turned brown too, which was like is more realistic than if it just stayed red. Like I think a lot of productions might have done. So that was kind of cool too.
Yeah,
it was definitely going through its stages. I mean, I don't know how many days do you think she was probably out there in total?
A week. A week. Yeah.
Because I
From the start to the finish, it was a week.
Why in the fuck would she run though? Like the first time she stops, she takes off her little sweatshirt thing, which okay, yeah, you're warm, you've been running and everything, and okay, maybe you want to like apply pressure to your wound or something, but then she leaves it, and you could tell it was cold as fuck out there. Like there's no way anyone would actually just like leave their.
I don't care if it's covered in blood.
Yeah,
it's gonna keep you warm.
it's still you can still.
Plus,
cover
you're leaving
up.
a trail where you're going. Here's
you
my
could, like,
bloody sweatshirt.
There's like literally like ice on the car and shit, and you can see people's breaths. So like it didn't make that much sense that she would just discard that.
Right, and there was some ice when she was trying to crawl up that one gorge or something.
Yeah,
it was icy.
And
what did you think of Sawyer at this point in time in the movie? I mean, what was your impression of her? At this point,
I got the feeling she was, like a strong, independent person because first off, she like kicked their ass, but then rather than freaking out, she's like, okay, well, we're gonna solve this. We can figure this out.
She stayed calm, definitely.
Yeah, so I like that. I like that sort of personality trait in her. But then she's also making some stupid ass decisions, like leaving her sweatshirt behind and then going and like soaking her fucking like shoes and everything in the cold ass water. Like, okay, I understand why, like washing your wound or whatever, but like you could have done a better job than that if you're not looking to get hypothermia.
Yeah, you're gonna get Blackfoot like Mr. Deeds.
Yeah.
It's Blackfoot. No. So they are chasing her, and like you said, she leaves a sweatshirt. Oh, she threw a rock, like the old thing when she's hiding and throws a rock, and they go chase the rock. That was a funny part for me.
She'd have to
throw them off her trail.
She'd have to throw it so far to like make them be like, oh, it's way over in the distance yonder. Let's go.
Maybe I'll look for where it might have been thrown from. You could hear.
She might have done some shot putting, so she was giving it everything she had.
That's how I can feel. She should have handled like some javelin shit, man. A spear.
Yeah.
And she's always pep talking too. Like, you're gonna do this. You're doing okay.
Right. Well, I mean, I can understand that. She was, in a situation where she, she didn't, she just ran for one thing, and I was actually surprised that those good old boys were able to keep up. I mean, especially Buck.
Right.
I mean, seriously. I mean, he's strong as hell. I see him strong as hell, but I don't see him running that far. Even with Sawyer's leg being cut as it was, I could see Holly keeping up with him a little bit better. but I just couldn't see Buck, and that, whether she was running slower than we thought, but I don't think she was. I think she was out, she definitely was outpacing them. And you're right, the rock itself was just like, yeah, I mean, and for one thing, she threw the rock like south and they ran north. She threw the rock downwind, and they turned around and said, yeah, it's over here, and then they went the opposite way. And that was sort of funny. I was like, oh, I don't get that one, but okay.
And let's see here. Then that cop goes to their trailer because she's freezing in the woods, but they're ended up back at their trailer somehow. I think they're in the woods, then they're back at the trailer. It cut real fast. And then yeah, you can see his nose is broken. Like, what happened to you? And asking Buck what happened to him, like he got stabbed. It was a hunting accident.
Yeah, I think, wasn't this after he found her car? Like they had reported,
right?
Abandoned car.
There, and we see him get a phone call, looking for the car, and then the deputy's there, and so he decides to drive out there, and I thought they did a really nice job of hiding the sheriff, because when he went out there, it seemed like he was a shit kicker, he knew those guys and he was not friends with them, and he's like, you didn't get any, the way they were talking to each other, it looked like he's on the good side of the law, and those good old boys are on the other side. At the initial contact, they didn't look like they were friends or business partners.
Right.
And I thought they did a really nice job at covering that, because they didn't reveal that till later on in the movie. But I that's what I was saying, how when I saw that, you could definitely tell that even though you knew that he was going to be the bad guy, but at the same time, you could see what he used to be. That's how I felt. My impression was he used to be a good cop, but over the time, he slowly got he got corrupted by it, and he stayed there too long. And
but didn't he tell him, like, hey, you gotta get rid of the car or something?
Not at first. When the first contact, the first contact, he was all friends. I mean, I'm not all friends. He was all business. I mean, he was talking to Holly. Those two guys were sparring, and then he turned around and he drew fast on Buck. I mean, and they were like, hey, wait.
When he comes sneaking up behind him.
Right.
Well, I thought it was odd. Maybe he was giving them a little bit more information, it seemed like, than you would normally give. And if he was really questioning them, like wondering if they had something to do with it, it seemed like he gave them a little bit more than what he should have. But
yeah, he did not look like they did not come across as knowing each other, as far as those guys caused trouble and he's riding herd on them a little bit, like okay, we don't find out till later that they're all in cahoots, but with the first contact, he's all business. I mean, he's
that's right, because he says, well, have you seen a car?
Right.
No. But then that's when as soon as he goes, they ditch it, right?
Yeah, he had to figure out about that. Like, did you have anything to do with this? Because anything that they do, though we don't know this yet as viewers, but anything that they do is affecting him, in one way or the other. I mean, if they had kidnapped that girl, he's involved. If they killed her, he's involved. If they had, stolen the truck, he's involved. Because they're tied together. But we don't know that yet. Mm-hmm. So I can see him being, looking back now, you see why he was a little bit aggressive. But at the same time, I felt like this is who he once was. He was once a shit kicker to those kind of people. Like, he didn't like them. But eventually, the money coming in, through the cartels and cooking and whatnot, it slowly got into him, and he buckled.
I feel like he was always. I felt like just his behaviors. You don't just develop into that without having something inside of you to begin with. You know what I mean? You don't start out just being like a normal, like, hey, in a small area like that, if you're like a NYPD or something and you're cover, all sorts of corrupt cops or anything, okay, you could get desensitized. But to like go as far down the path as he did, you have to have that inside of you, I think, right? I mean, you don't just get.
Yeah, he definitely had the that town fooled as far as what type of person he was, for sure.
Yeah, he wasn't no young buck. I mean, he, back there in Kentucky, I believe that they vote for their sheriffs. Vote them into office. And he wasn't like he was just a young guy. He was in his 40s. So, and we don't really know how long he's been been the sheriff, but it has been a long time. And even before that, you know, how long maybe he himself had been a deputy before he ran for sheriff. So he could have been on the job for anywhere between 10, 20 years. We didn't get that. We didn't get the idea of that. But I think over the long term, I could see him being eroded. I could see him falling into temptation. He was a good cop with good ideals at first, like Katz. I mean, look at Katz. Katz looked like he was, he was young and a go-getter and a fire eater. And I think that's how I think the sheriff was. I think the sheriff saw a lot of himself in Katz at one time. And that's just the impression I got.
I disagree, because I think you're in like this rural environment. Like, what's going to be wearing you down that far down the fucking path? You know what I mean? Like, to where you can just kill your coworker and friend, and not even think about it the next day or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just the way he shows no remorse for what he does. Yeah, any of the acts that he does. Like, if it were just a simple thing of, oh, I can't let them find me out, like he might have at least regretted some of the decisions he made, but as you're saying, I mean, he was just like, no, this is what I got to do. I got to kill him. So
yeah, he was cold hearted, man. He didn't even he didn't flinch. He didn't no remorse. Okay, well,
it was Thanksgiving too.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
not only that, but he framed him somehow too, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to put this.
Oh, yeah, that was that. I couldn't believe he did that one, because I'm going like, is that what he did? I'm thinking the other sheriff would look with the state sheriff or the state police. I thought for sure he was just going to be able to look at that and go like, yeah, that was an act of a desperate man, because anybody would have saw through that in a minute. All of a sudden your deputy goes missing and you haven't heard back, or you're gonna go to the locker just at the same time the statey's there, and you can open up.
Hold on.
And I was just like that. That was like he was desperate. You could definitely see a man at the end of the rope. For that. That was not a well thought out plan. But you know what? It worked. It worked.
He's just trying to buy a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But then also to drown someone, to drown an innocent person, just because it's like convenient or so. I mean, you have to be a complete fucking psychopath to do that shit,
Yeah.
He definitely
proxy. He must be in proxy.
Yeah, he definitely that's right. That's the second movie in a row, right? Holy cow.
Drowning.
But definitely, you definitely see that you're right. I mean, by this time, he has gone over to the dark side, and he turned off the GPS. There's no going back for him. And,
I mean, philosophically, though, I mean, can you go that far down the dark side without having that shit inside of you, built into your psyche? Just lacking that human quality, of remorse and empathy. I don't know if I don't think you can, but
no, yeah, I don't know either. I mean, the whole atmosphere where he was at. I mean, it's that's why there's always that stereotype of a Southern sheriff always being corrupt. There's a lot that there. A lot of people say that's a stereotype.
Andy Griffith. Andy Griffith wasn't corrupt.
Could you see Andy Griffith? I could actually see him doing
it. He wasn't corrupt, but he didn't do everything by the book either.
No.
He was no Matlock, that's for sure.
Yeah, he saw their exceptions to rules. So.
So they did dump her car. That was the next part, was when after they found her sock too, like you were saying about her sweatshirt. They found her sock. your bloody socks. So she's leaving a trail as she goes. But yeah, they dump her car over the embankment, and
She literally has to move out of the way because it's coming down right where she happens to be at.
Lucky break, right?
Yeah, that was yeah. I mean, it obviously showed that they knew that area better than she did, but at the same time, that it showed that she had been on the move for a while. That scene worked for me too. Like, well, that's a coincidence. Not really, because they seem to know exactly what to do and how to do it. It would have been more interesting, I think, if they would have had like another old car back there on its hood, like it had already. They have done this once before. Now, I think that probably would have made the scene just a little bit more impactful. Like, we definitely know this is not their first rodeo, and
it's like somebody was in wrong turn, right? Wasn't Buck in Wrong Turn? He knows all about it.
But I think also like they were leaving her car so that it looked like an accident or something. Maybe like they didn't want to like pile it up with a bunch of other evidence or something. They were like, they weren't just disposing of it somewhere. They were trying to like set some kind of scene, right? That's why they drove. I thought. Yeah. But then that part also was kind of funky because her being such a badass person who's like looking for solutions to problems, there's no way they just drove that Jeep from their house without following with a truck or something, because they knew they were going to fuck it up. So like, you'd think their truck is right up there, right? Why didn't she, as soon as they left, like she just like go up and take their truck or something?
I think I would have done that after I kicked their asses on the road.
I did too. I thought that she would
have whooped their asses, and I'm going to take your truck. I might reverse over you.
The one thing that got me was when she hit the creek, and to me, there's a saying, like if you ever get lost out in the woods and you come across a river, you always go downstream. Always. That's what you do. You follow it down. It will run into civilization sooner than later. I mean, that was one of the things that my parents taught me, because my grandparents lived up in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California, and they always said, if you ever get lost and you come to a water, stay with the water and go down it. Stay on the side of the river, and then go down the side. Stay in contact.
After they drove the Jeep or whatever off the embankment, though, they said, okay, let's go. We're going to go to the lake or to the creek and just like walk our way down. So maybe in her mind, she was thinking like, I can't just be on that creek, that someone's going to see me at some point,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like being on the road. It's definitely going to give you
away.
Well,
she was smart, but she was smart because they were tracking her blood. And she had enough gumption to cross the river. Because I think she was, when she saw the car, I think she realized that, hey, they know that, and plus she heard them, they were hunting her, and they might have even surprised her, but Holly racked a shotgun, and that gave her a warning, and she was able to get out of their way, and then we see her go to the creek or the river and cross it, because she knew that they were tracking her through they were tracking her, and Holly was no fool. Hollister was nobody's fool, and he was a lot sharper than we initially thought. In fact, both those boys were not exactly your typical Southern boys, like stupid. They were both very clever and very skilled. I mean,
they're smarter than I thought they were.
Yeah. Buck and Holly were not your typical, what we see in these type of movies where they're just bumpkins. They were sharp. They were sharp. They were. I think their characters were, for the movie, I thought they were pretty well developed. Holly a little bit more than Buck per se, but they were both developed.
Yeah, I was gonna say Buck did that thing where he was talking about Lowell's, and he goes LOL. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. You get the impression too. You can definitely see that among the two brothers, definitely Buck was looking up to Holly. I mean, everything that he did, he was looking to Holly first. And like whatever Hollister did or said or whatever he was going to do, he was, And he is almost to the point where if he said jump off the cliff, he would have jumped off of it, but he's still, he's still his own person in some ways. And whereas Hollister's spirit was just mean as hell. I mean, look at the way that Buck handled Sawyer during their first encounter. After she fucked up his brother, he came up there and just grabbed her from behind. I mean, he didn't hit her with an open fist. He didn't attempt to slam her down. He didn't roll his weight on her. I mean, he was trying to just to hold her, to subdue her. And to me, that's sort of like, I saw that as like, okay, well, he's not used to this, and it's a girl, and he's still trying to be, I don't know, gentle, so to speak. I mean, if I saw someone do that,
even like when Hollister or whatever was like, like approaching her and like being all sort of aggressive. He's like, I don't know if we have time for this. Like, sort of, you got the feeling like he was not quite as like, he was more of like a quiet follower type but not as just like downright piece of shit as his brother or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's when, and then she has her cell phone too. She got her cell phone out of the car.
Yeah.
That
surprised me too when the sheriff got in the car after he drives down there and sees the truck there and he gets in it. I mean, he didn't even. He got in. He put his hands on the car. He didn't. One thing I was saying, like, wow, you got in the car. You left your handprints everywhere on this car.
Nice fingerprints.
Yeah, you left your fingerprints. And I'm thinking to myself, going like, well, why don't you do a top to bottom search? He just sat in there, put his hand on the steering wheel, looks around, and then he gets out without even looking. I don't
take it and dump it over the embankment with his fingerprints all over the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's like,
But he probably felt like, well, I'm the one investigating this shit anyway, so forensically, I'm not worried about it.
Right.
True.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. And then we see
she kind of passes out, right? And then she meets Lowell and her.
Well, I was thinking going back to the sheriff's station because we see Katz, and we definitely see that he is, like I said, he's a go-getter, he's a fire eater. He wants to, here it is, this missing car on the road, and he's acting like it's the crime of the century. He's like, he's so bored at where he's at. Him too is ambitious.
He wants to do something besides paperwork.
Right. And so he comes up there and he, like, wow, let's go out there. Let's run it. Let's go out there and look for the car. Let's go run the plates. Let's go this, let's do that. And, the sheriff's like, just slow your roll, like know your place, and he keeps coming back. He keeps coming back with, a little bit more information and then, I thought the sheriff was just, this is what I said. I thought the sheriff, when he saw Cass like that, I always felt like he was seeing himself like that way back when. I think that, to me, it's like, and I think that's the reason why he hired Katz, because he hired him. The sheriff hired him, and I think he saw a little of himself in that young man, like what he used to be like.
Maybe he hired him because he knew he was naive and he could do shit.
I didn't think he was naive at all.
He's not, but
maybe he hired him because
he thought he was.
Maybe he hired him because he was the only fucker who applied for the job.
Could be.
No, he would have got a crony or something.
But he definitely
could have got a Barney. He could have got a Barney or Enos, easy enough.
Enos.
He definitely had a way of, I'm going to give you the work that's going to keep you out of my way so I can get done what needs to be done for my plan.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell, like, during that scene, you can tell he was trying to kill this like thing. He was trying to like bury it, and not really investigate it, so you could tell right there. That's when you start seeing like, okay, well, there's something up with this dude. He's like, he's not trying to get to the bottom of anything, he's trying to just put it on ice.
You like that, Mary? You like the Enos?
Yeah, the Enos. Enos. Oh, golly, we got ourselves a crime here.
Them Duke boys, I tell
I'll
you.
get my one bullet. We'll sell it for sure.
Oh, Barney.
She wakes up in a trailer. She's got a wrapped up leg all nice and clean. And she sees plastic up on the kitchen walls. And a man comes in and was she pour a lie on him or something?
Yeah.
She's like, back off, sucker.
Yeah.
She's always fighting.
Well, she puts her hand in it first, so
Ah.
and her hand was wet, so that it was starting, no doubt going to burn her hand. But
Yeah, it was.
yeah, she just is not trusting, even though I would think she would be like, well, surely if they wanted to kill me, they wouldn't have bandaged my leg. But still, you wake up in a strange place and you're like, who is this?
And considering all that she's gone through, you can understand her being highly defensive.
Yeah.
That's when he has to neutralize it with his gallons of milk or gallon of milk. Or good thing he had milk that day.
I didn't know that's how you dilute lye. I was like, okay, I'm getting a science lesson here.
Yeah, we're learning how the different kinds of stuff you can use to mix.
Oh yeah, that's a meth 101 class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she kind of underestimated Lowell. She thought he was just some dumb backwoods guy, and then turns out no, he knows a little bit more because he's been doing this for so long.
Lowell is, other than Sawyer, Lowell definitely what a character. What an interesting man he was.
He seemed like if he wasn't up where he was, he would have been, something, But he got stuck in a bad area and bad start to life. So he just kept going. What he knew how to do was to make meth. But he wasn't a bad man.
No, he wasn't a bad man at all. And and when we see him, I saw, without being dramatic or anything, but I saw a little bit of myself in that character. And we see that when Sawyer goes out, after she gets out of the house and she goes and sees that ruined garage, that burnt down garage. And she sees that picture, and he had a family at one time. He was married at one time. And you see that because he has his wedding ring on.
And he has the burns on his neck.
And so there was a fire, and he lost everything, including his wife. And he's just there running out the time. That's all he has. He has no ambition. He has nothing to look forward to. He's just there.
You have us to look forward to, sir.
No, not. No, I didn't think he did. That's not how he was living his life. His life was just absolutely like day to day. And he didn't really care. He's just cooking, that's all he did. I mean, and then when Sawyer came in there, it was almost like a thin rope of life, like, well, maybe there's still something I can do, because he fought like hell. It was like when he saw her, it was just like a lifeline. And, and all of a sudden, before he didn't care about nothing. He's just cooking. That's all he's doing, cooking and giving it to his cousins and doing whatever needs to be done and whatnot. But
and they were giving him his share of the money, but they obviously weren't. They couldn't have been giving him much because he didn't even have a car or anything. He was just kind of stranded out there.
I don't think he really wanted one. I think they might have gave his money, but I don't think he was really doing anything with it. I just think he's like, okay, thanks. He just didn't care, because everything that he had once had in his life was gone.
Right.
And so he was just going through the motions until Sawyer got there. He was a decent person.
So they would bring him the supplies, right?
Right.
To make the shit.
Yep.
They give him the supplies, and he'd turn around and give them the meth.
The cooker. He was the cooker.
The shit that they put in that to cook. Oh my God. I don't know how anybody gets hooked on that shit. how does that happen? I mean, oh, I just like knowing, because I've seen some commercials and I've seen some videos of how people doing that cooking shit like that. I'm just like, I don't get it. I mean, to me, it's like you show somebody this is how your shit that you're
Could
snorting or
blow up. It did.
yeah,
That's why. And you're
Yeah,
smoking something so volatile,
wow. It's
dangerous.
But I mean,
it was yeah, it was interesting.
if you have like develop a drug problem, you have a certain like self-destructive streak anywhere. You have
Yeah.
that sort of flair about you. So like
They
you
don't
just sort of
care type
you
thing.
slowly
Yeah.
find yourself in like crazy ass situations where you're like, I mean, people's stories are absolutely insane. Shit, you think like I couldn't even make that up, But it's like
yeah.
people's stories.
Um,
Didn't she pass out and then she like wakes up and she's tied up? I think.
yeah, she runs out there and yeah, she still has loss of blood. I mean, he mentions that to her, like, and of course, she doesn't realize that she's keeping him tied up because she's too weak to do anything. He's trying to protect her, and when she starts screaming, she puts his hand over her mouth and says, like,
They're gonna kill you. They probably would kill Lowell too for having her. I don't know, unless he makes the story up like this bitch.
well, I don't think
I don't know.
I think if they would have came in right there, I think Lowell gets away with it because Lowell doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything.
They made
But
her a sandwich,
yes, and gave her water.
fixed her sore up, give her some nice bandages.
Well,
Yeah,
even when they find him later, they don't think anything of it except that he was like,
Getting a little romantic.
yeah, like
He's up in the
well,
mountains. You finally got a girl, all right, Lowell.
how I guess in that life, you're a little bit, they're looking for the girl, and and then and Holly writes away, like right away, like again, it just shows these two good old boys, they're a lot sharper than what they appear to be. Here it is. I don't know about you, but I mean, if you came over 20 times to my house and I had you to come in the house 10 times, I wouldn't think anything of it. Like if I had you over 10 times and then the 11th time I walk outside and say hi, I wouldn't even think about the reason why,
Right.
like, oh gosh, he didn't invite me to the house this time. Whoa, I'd be like, okay, well maybe he doesn't, I wouldn't
He
even
must be cooking meth.
yeah, but it's their family. They've grown up with each other their entire lives. It's just not 10
Isn't
times.
it the cousin? Is he their
Yeah,
cousin?
the cousin.
No.
Yeah, they're cousins. Yep.
Okay. I thought I heard him calling cuz, but it might have been like,
Yep.
yo, cuz.
They're family.
Blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, man? What's up, cuz? That's right.
Cuz.
Yeah. And she says, she was telling him where she was gonna go. He's like putting meth into bags and stuff, and she's telling him her story, I guess.
There was like you would think for him he could have like done almost anything if he's like a good dude or whatever, like, and he takes her and he like dresses her wound or something, even if she throws lye in his face, or at some point like he would say, I'm not going to hurt you. Like,
Yeah, I was wondering, like, why didn't he, like, hey, look, shh, relax.
Yeah.
He didn't do it for like a little while. He's like, look, they're gonna kill you. He didn't do it till like till they were there and knocking on the door trying to come in.
Like even after he gave her the sandwich and shit, is like just ignoring her, rather than saying like, listen, whatever, you're
He
fucked
was out
up.
of touch with the human touch, the communication skills.
I think the thing that really sparked him, I mean, his interest level in her really took off in the fact that she was smart enough to use the lie to burn the rope to get out. I think that really spoke to, because, he, like you said, he's a smart guy himself. He's not stupid. And I think, here he sees somebody that, even though it's an escape, but it's something that it intrigues him. like, wow, that was pretty clever. She was able to figure that out, you know.
I
And
don't know. Do you guys have experience with lye?
no,
Not personally.
other than not to temple.
I've never had any crawl space to put my bodies in or anything where I needed to add lye. But
We used it. We used it when we buried our dog that passed away, because we had problems with like critters that would come up, and they would try to dig up the animal. So if they smell the lye, they wouldn't dig it up. They would let it lie.
I know it's like acidic and shit, but do you think you could burn through like a nautical rope, like a big 1-inch nautical rope in like a matter of seconds with lye?
Right, that's some corrosive shit.
Yeah,
It's not that corrosive, is it?
I don't
I don't
know.
know. Went right through that rope pretty fast.
But I guess that's my question. I don't think that.
What was the? I guess
But
it was the chemical reaction is what made it, I guess,
No, it
burn so much
it
quicker.
just breaks down the body. It and it covers up the smell. I don't know what it does. It does something funky.
I'm just saying, like, she poured that water on it. She made sure she got it over the rope and poured it on it. That chemical reaction there was, I guess it was just burning a lot hotter, you know.
I mean, I think they were definitely saying like, okay, she put water on it and that increased the chemical reaction or whatever. But I mean, we're talking like within 2 minutes or something. Like,
yeah, I don't think it would burn that quick.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a little quicker.
Yeah,
it was.
I didn't think it would burn
MacGyver.
that fast. I don't think it would burn that fast, but
she poured that shit on there. They came to the door, and he said, "You can't come in. It smells like you've got some fumage going on. You can't come in."
I mean, he said there was an incident with the lye, so you know.
Mm-hmm. There was too.
That part worked out. Yeah, there was an incident with the lye.
And and it was interesting. Like, when they both go inside the house, when Buck goes inside and then Holly goes inside, and Lowell's just standing there, he's expecting the worst. You can see him tensing up, waiting for that scream. And then he doesn't hear it, and he's like, "Well, how'd that happen?" And then he comes back in, and then then he finds her outside, inside the garage. He was suspecting the worst. He's like, "Okay, where can you hide in a trailer? I mean, I don't think you can really hide from anybody."
Yeah, that's why he's like, just you can just go. Now he says you can go, but you aren't going to get to where you need to get because your legs pretty infected.
Your legs fucked up. You're 20 miles away from the nearest. You're 5 miles away from the nearest road. You're 20 miles away from the nearest. From the nearest village. Yeah. I
like little civilization. I like some space, but. As you age, it's a young man's game, those out in the woods shit. As you age, you need a hospital, you need doctors, you need shit close by.
Right.
For your ailments that kick in. Like, oh, look at that, huh? Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. Whoops. So gotta have something nearby, but I mean, who knows what they have? They have cops.
Yeah, we know that. We know they had cops. And then Sawyer and Lowell, they start talking to each other. Like she's not looking to, when she grabs the knife, to grabs that knife or screwdriver, and he knew the second she grabbed it. He looks down, sees it's missing, looks up, looks down where she walked to. He knew, but hey, if it made her feel secure, then that's fine. It's I'm not gonna hurt her. I don't have no designs like that on her. I'm not gonna, he was nothing but a gentleman. He never made an overpass at her. He never made an overt pass at her at all.
My one critique of this film is some of the sort of like storytelling was just way too telegraphed. Like the second they're talking about this thermos full of this chemical and blah blah blah, you're like, okay, obviously that's going to come into play. And when
foreshadowing.
Yeah, and like when she steals that thing, you're like, they make a real big point of like clearly saying, "Oh, here's this thing she took," and then later he's like, "Oh, keep it. It'll be a cool story." And you're like, "Okay, obviously,
Right.
that would be that's really like my biggest issue I have with this film is like I
Well,
felt like they tipped their hat like way too hard."
I thought honestly when I was watching it, I thought it would be Lowell. I thought Lowell and the sheriff would have a final shootout, and either he would win and then they were right off into the sunset, or they would kill each other, and then she would walk, take his car and drive out. That's how I saw it, during the interaction. And then when Lowell and the sheriff had their nose to nose, and Lowell's just sitting there, and the sheriff's like, I could shoot you twice, before you can put the lift the shotgun. And Lowell's like, he's just saying, I'm not aiming it at you. I'm aiming it at the can next to you. And if I hit that, there won't be enough of you left to put inside of a bucket.
Pretty much.
I thought that was pretty. I thought that was a pretty ballsy scene too. But I didn't know how. I didn't really get the idea. And the way they bonded real quick, that was a little weird too. It's like, okay, and Mary brought this up when we were talking earlier, and it did have that sense of the Stockholm syndrome. Like she started identifying with Lowell, instead of instead of looking for it to get out. Like, I'm feeling better. My leg's feeling much better. I don't, every day.
Yeah, I don't think I have to finish the batch with you, do I?
Right.
Can I go?
Right. I mean, it's just like she stayed. She stayed with him. She wasn't looking to get out after a while. Sitting on the river talking.
I think she was, but I think like she also didn't feel like he personally was a threat, and there was like. It seemed like he was looking to finish this cooks and then get out of there, and she was going to go.
He did seem like he was like, you know what? The destiny is like, it should change. Like something's going to change.
They had some plan. They had some. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, he had told her, I can't do anything. I can't take you where till Saturday.
Yeah.
So I think in her mind, she was thinking, okay, well, maybe if I help him get this done quicker, then maybe before Saturday,
yeah, that's
he can
true.
get out of there quicker. Maybe
get the hell out of here.
I was just wondering if she was thinking that way, like if I'm more helpful to him and he gets this job done quicker, then maybe
cutting up matchbooks.
Yeah,
I was surprised he didn't have. I was actually surprised that he didn't have a cell phone either. He obviously had electricity.
Yeah, you would think he would have one to keep in communication with
right.
the hillbilly boys and the
right.
sheriff.
Yeah, there's no service out there.
Well, yeah, but she did have service at one point. She at the river, she had the very last of the last, and she was able to record a little message before her battery died.
She never had service. That was a voice memo.
No, was that was just recording, right?
Yeah, it was just like a voice memo. It wasn't like she was like leaving a message for someone on their phone. I
still feel like that she should have been able to like charge her phone, to charge it up, and to see, they had her uterus. It's just small things like that that was like, I can see her doing that. Like, okay, I have my phone. I'm gonna try to charge it up. I want to at least have it charged, because I don't sure, obviously, like you said, I mean, he has to have contact with because you want to have warning. If the cops are coming to raid your trailer, you would think that everybody involved in the operation is going to sit there and call you and sit there and say, yo man, they're coming. You don't want your cook to get busted. You're going to go down with that ship. You would think that there would be some sort of communication there, because you're not going to be able to drive over there just to say, hey, the cops are right behind on my ass and they're coming to raid us.
This is like a super rural meth lab. Like they're not even thinking about like DEA or anything, it's like they're in with the law there. Like who's gonna come,
Well, and it never shows how Hollister and Buck are communicating, but they keep calling O'Dole at his office.
Yeah, and he goes and visits them and shit, right? Like,
yeah, so he feels comfortable enough to accept their calls, but they don't show where they're calling from. Like if they're calling like a pay, I don't know, not a payphone, but They called him somewhere.
There was communication between the sheriff and the cousins. You know, Lowell and Holly and Buck. There was communication between the two of them. You know, and so there was some reception somewhere because those boys were out on the road most of the time. I didn't really get the impression that we were going to see Buck and Holly at home just sitting around watching TV. They always seem to be doing some, you know, they always seem to be doing something. They're always on the go doing something.
I mean, no, because the first time he goes and visits them, they're just chilling at home, right? Like,
yeah, they were that time. Yeah.
Okay,
you
I thought
see
they were
them out and about hunting for this girl because they have a task or whatever, but they're also kind of lazy because they're like, oh, look, we'll go tomorrow first thing or whatever, you know, like we're not going to go right now or whatever. We'll hit it
yeah,
first
they
thing.
thought he was dead. They were going to look for birds feeding off her carcass. You know, that's what he said. That's what Holly says. We'll just go and look at the birds. You know, they'll tell us where she's at. And yeah.
Yeah, it's saying here that next part's like when they're at the sheriff's office and the deputy guy's talking to his wife, like, you know, I don't know if I can leave today because it's Thanksgiving.
Okay, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Will we consider Rust Creek a Thanksgiving movie?
Well, it could be.
It takes place around Thanksgiving. I mean,
the last day of it is, right?
You don't see any Thanksgiving celebrations, no parade, no turkeys. You don't even see a single turkey.
Just verbally they say.
Yeah, just like, oh, hey, you know, it's Thanksgiving. It's, you know.
There's none of those masks that they wear. What's that guy in Thanksgiving? What's he wearing?
The Carver mask.
Yeah. What's the name of the?
What's
the name of the guy's mask? I forget.
Yeah, John Carver, I guess.
Yeah, John Carver. That's it. Nobody's wearing those.
Okay. Well, that's not true. No, that's not true. Lowell was wearing a mask. He was wearing a mask. Remember, when he says he only had the one when they came in there and they're like he was cooking.
It wasn't a pilgrim mask, though.
Huh?
It wasn't exactly a pilgrim mask.
No, it was a breathing, help his breathing.
But it's still a mask, right?
It's a respirator. A mask doesn't have cartridges.
So Rust Creek is not a Thanksgiving movie.
It's a pre-Christmas story.
There's so few Thanksgiving movies. I was like, I was watching that and hearing that Thanksgiving. I'm like, I wonder if this counts as a Thanksgiving movie.
Well, the last day of it is on Thanksgiving, so
yeah,
I guess technically. But you got to watch like the whole movie just about to figure that out.
Well, Ben says no. I'm gonna have to go with Ben.
I agree. So sheriff says, go ahead, go home to your wife or your fiance, you know, spend time with her. It's your first Thanksgiving. Go be with her, have fun. And he's talking to his wife all the way out. He's like, is there any, you know, I'm on my way home. I can't get whipped cream. Yeah. There's no stores open. I got some whipped cream inside in the little fridge. I'll go get it. And he hears the sheriff. What did he say about finding the body of the girl?
Yeah.
And stuff.
And
you can see him through the shade and shit. So the deputy's busted on hearing what he was talking about. Yeah, you better find that girl's body. Don't screw this shit up and stuff. So I just don't know where they are, I guess, making meth. I don't know. I don't understand why it's an R yet.
I mean, there's language, and there was like adult themes.
Yeah,
a few.
I mean, it's not like they held back any language or anything, right?
No.
Yeah. And he says, I bet you think there's something wrong with that conversation. And deputy kind of like, hey, back up.
His whole face, his whole demeanor was just one of disappointment. I mean, he wasn't even mad. He wasn't angry. He was just like shocked and disappointed.
Well, my thing is, if he's already drawn on him, so it's like he knows he's guilty. Why wouldn't he then say like, I need you to take your weapon out. So treat him like he's a
don't leave. Make him take his
go,
weapon
go
out.
through the
Get down
process
on
you
the
would do if
ground.
you were taking down a perp that you were gonna, have
Exactly.
to lock up or whatever. I mean, it seems like he would have done that, but instead he was like, "I'm just trying to get out of here."
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
didn't
can
understand
sort
that
of
part.
see either way. Like, I need to go to the state trooper's office to file this complaint. We're going to let them handle it or something because he knows how internal affairs are run or whatever. But the fact that he gets out there and drops his keys and like the way he handled that didn't seem likely.
No,
No.
he should have made sure that he didn't have
I thought that
he got the gun away from the sheriff some way.
Or hey, get the fuck back inside right now, dude. Like,
shoot his feet out.
I would have just, what he should have done, when he's on the phone, he should have just backed out as quiet as he walked in to the door, open the door and make a noise, like bam, like hey sheriff, like hey, hey, I'm coming back for, making like he just got in that, he just walked in, so he wouldn't know that he had overheard the conversation, like, because the sheriff was looking down, he was looking down on while he was on the phone. It wasn't until he hung up the phone that he looked up and saw the deputy, and then
he was standing there at the open blinds for what seemed like an eternity, like much longer than anyone actually just be like, there waiting for.
But he's looking down, focused on his phone call because he thought the guy had already left. Here he is. He's and if you're the deputy, you just like back your ass out. You back your ass out. You shut the door. You come back in, but shut the door. Don't say shit to nobody. Say, hey, I'm just here to get. I'm going to see if I have some cream, and then I'm out of here. I'll see you. I'll bring you a plate.
Yeah, be real noisy as you come in.
Yeah,
big noisy. Hey, I forgot that whipped cream.
Yep. But he comes on in all quiet and shit, and he walks in on the call. But you're right. I mean, the first thing he does is, you're right. As soon as you draw that gun and put it at the sheriff, you're telling him with 2 fingers, take your gun out and drop it. If I see a 3rd finger, I'm putting 2 in your chest.
Yeah.
I think
the sheriff's just so fast.
It didn't really escalate until he went outside and he followed him, right? That's when you're like, hey, dude, like, get the fuck back inside. Yeah. I'm leaving. Like,
As soon as he came outside, again, it's one of those things where it's like, if he's coming outside, he has intentions that are not healthy for you. And that's when you have your gun out and you sit there and say, go back inside the office, go back. But I'm leaving here, and if but think about Katchel. Think about the position that he's in. He's a young guy. He's looked up to the sheriff. He's looking up. He's looking up to the sheriff, like Buck was looking up to Holly. He has his look about what he heard. It wasn't anger. It wasn't like, oh, you piece of fucking shit. It was just like, you're gonna have to answer to somebody for this. And his whole demeanor is just like, I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Did you see the size of his fucking keyring? Do you think you really have to look down to like actually find that thing? Just put your hand anywhere in the vicinity. The thing was like huge.
Yeah, it was.
Janitor keys. That's right. He's getting into everything. That's keys to the town right there.
Yeah.
Then they flash over to Sawyer and Lowell making meth. It's Thanksgiving, and she was saying that she was gonna ditch Thanksgiving anyway, and talked about going on the job interview. And she didn't tell her parents about it.
She didn't want to be embarrassed in case she didn't get it.
And then they were talking about pennies.
Yes. Yeah, because on the radio asked that question when she was driving. Would you rather have a stack of pennies or what was the question? Would you like to have a stack of pennies or
tall as the Empire State Building?
Yeah, or a room
full of pennies.
They never specified the size of the room because some rooms are like fucking tiny, man.
Yeah, I got some big rooms. You can put that. Fill the big one.
Like those tiny little crawl spaces under the stairs or whatever. I mean, like, I'd rather have a tall stack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually probably just say keep your fucking pennies, dude. Just give me like the cash value. I'll take 50% less than it actually is.
Yeah, but you know what though? But you see, you're fortunate in one respect though, because I mean, you could, if you how much money would you think that you would get if you took like a room full of pennies and melted them? How much money would you get for the
For
material?
pennies?
You
There's
wouldn't
not
get
much
shit.
copper in them anymore, is there?
Yeah,
It's a
you
lot
wouldn't
of
get
zinc
shit,
and
dude.
alloys.
Yeah,
And
it's
You would just have like a big mess of fucking shit that no one would give you anything for.
plus,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do it to the
Yeah, you get thrown in
do the
blunt taco
tasting.
bay. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
there goes my idea. I had an idea, for Ben to make a lot of money, but I guess that won't work.
If it was like those like silver dollars, like genuine silver dollars, maybe, but like
Even
if
now, it's
it was,
only
if
like
it was like gold
Okay,
Kruger
how
amp,
about, how about,
bucks an
how about
ounce.
what if you took those melted pennies and you made like furniture pieces out of them? Like, this is made out of penny. How much do you think that would be worth more than that would be pretty cool. I mean, people would definitely be interested in buying that for a few $100s, right?
I mean, it really depends on the construction of the furniture. As a dude
Yeah.
who's made furniture for a living,
Well,
like if you can't
I'm
sell
just I'm
shit.
I'm just thinking about, what? I'm just thinking, you do a lot for the boys. Why couldn't they help you out a little bit by melting some damn pennies and helping you make some furniture? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you don't want to cast furniture. Do you know how heavy a penny chair would be or some shit?
it'd be heavy.
Oh, God, that would actually be a pretty cool thing, though, to eat pizza off of a penny table, though. That would actually be pretty interesting.
It would taste. Make a pizza taste funny.
Well, I'd probably use a plate.
Yeah.
Or at
Yeah,
least,
you
like,
get
Oh,
a
he's
plate.
saying
You eat it
right
off a
off it.
plate. Yeah, you eat it off a plate. Yeah, they're
but
not.
what if
They're
that
not.
plate? What if that
Mm.
plate was made of melted pennies, though? That'd be gross.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but if the table was just made out of the pennies, that would be cool.
What if the pizza had penny toppings? That'd be just nasty, man.
Mm.
The cupping pepperoni instead it's pennies.
Yeah. Oh,
There you
no,
are. They
just to let
shoot
everybody know,
over to the
just to
sheriff and
just let people know in the replay. If you
give 'em
come watch
nuts.
the shows with us, I promise you, there's one thing that's always gonna be there's always gonna be one little tiny ass segment about Godzilla. That's just all there is to it. So there you go.
Godzilla.
Yes.
Godzilla.
What did you have for dinner anyway, Ben, yesterday? Did you do pizza?
No, I did pizza on Friday.
Okay.
It's
See, there we go.
This is mouth.
He's got like an interchangeable jaw because he comes with this boat because it's Godzilla. So you can put like a boat in his mouth.
Is that from -1?
No, this is from Godzilla 2000.
He's chunky.
Thank you.
Here's his counterpart, Orga.
Oh,
Okay.
Cool.
very
Yeah,
nice.
Oregon. Man, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for a picture of Ben with his table full of pizza and his boys all around the table.
I'm still waiting on my gigantic.
Just waiting on his big Godzilla, aren't you?
Still waiting on that. They're having some issue printing the joints because the joints swivel. So I think their tolerancing was like a little funky, but yeah, I gotta contact them again on that.
Yeah.
Shave down his ball and sockets.
Yeah. Well, it's big, man. You have to assemble it. You have to print it in parts. Because we have big printers. I shouldn't say we, but there were big printers where I used to work. And you could print big stuff. But this thing is fucking huge, man. Like
neat.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. So now we see the sheriff. He's got to know. I honestly, it's the sheriff. The sheriff's just got to. He tells them to bury the body out there.
Yeah, but doesn't he say something like he says bury it deep? But doesn't he say something like not like you did last time or
right? Like
something along them lines? Like they got somebody out there else buried.
And the thing is, though, too, is you don't really think the idea. I don't really get the impression that they had time to bury the sheriff or they bury the deputy before the shit hit the fan. Because they're on a timetable themselves. Because they got to get that shipment ready to go up there out of during the weekend. So
Yeah.
you had a feeling like they were going to be putting them in an area and then going there and doing what they need to do, then come back and bury them deep. The sheriff had to know at the time that it was up. The number was up. They were going to come looking for him sooner than later. Especially with that little weak ass diversion attempt. That wasn't going to fool any. That wasn't going to fool
Yeah,
anybody.
because that's when the state cops were like,
Yeah.
we're here now.
They
We're
would've
taking
come- they
over.
would've
And he's like,
come
oh, by
back
the
and
way,
did it.
here's this locker. And
Yeah.
it
Like,
has
"Dude,
all our shit.
can you conveniently follow me over to this locker real quick while I show you some
Yeah.
evidence I wanted you to see?"
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't have like a kilo of meth there, inside the locker as well. Like, holy shit! There's not only our murderer for the girl, but our meth dealer. So I'm
He's the one
good.
doing all this meth.
Like delinquent parking tickets and all sorts of shit.
Right.
Those damn jaywalkers. So and so we see Lowell and Sawyer. They once again they fend off Buck and Holly, and I Lowell, like, again, it's sharp because they think that Lowell's on guard. I mean, he's still on guard. He's still tense. He's still, and even when he gets them, he gets them out, and then he's still looking out the window. He looked out the window for a while, and then
Well, Hollister noticed the footprints, so that was he
that was
the look
was
he was
pretty
giving him as
slick.
they backed out said, like, I know something's up, and
right.
this isn't the end of this,
No, but and again, it points out just how, like, they're not dumb. I mean, here it is. He spots that right off the bat. He sees the blood on the step, and he immediately puts it together. He knows, and it's not a cliche. It's not a cliche. It's not a trope like, oh, of course he did. No, because he was looking. His radar was full on when he was going up to Lowell's house. His behavior had changed so dramatically that it had, instead of this being off-putting, like, like, gosh, like he does not want me up around here. I don't want to be any place where I'm not welcomed at. And with
Right.
Lowell was like, with Holly, it was like, that's not Lowell. We come up here all the time, have a beer, sit down, shoot the fat, then and then for him to have that drastic behavior, and then he saw the blood. I mean, he was a smart operator.
They saw footprints, right? Not blood.
Yeah, it was two.
I know
It was
blood.
two
Yes,
sets
mud.
of footprints. There were two sets of footprints
And
on the
blood.
stairs from where
I thought
they
it
had
was just
came up.
muddy.
Huh?
Yeah, they were down by the water, and they'd both come up.
Dumping that red shit
They were
in the
dumping
water.
There's
I
They
no
saw the two.
Remember, they were sitting on the steps too.
Yeah, but she's done bleeding.
Maybe.
Right.
I mean, we don't know how deep. I don't. That's what I think that he saw. I think he saw the dry blood. I think that's what he saw. I think he saw that because the two footprints. I mean, he could explain that away. All he had to do is sit there and say, "Well, you and Buck have been up here, and so is the sheriff. You guys have all been up here in the
What's
last
the
week."
size of the shoe?
I think
Maybe.
that was it. It was the size footprint.
I'd be all right, but
There's a fancy one of those fancy city running shoes too. It wasn't
the
some like
city, it's Adidas.
hillbilly boot. Yeah.
Mr. Bones is in the house. Hey, how are you,
Hey,
Bones?
Mr. Bones. Hello.
Oh,
Yeah, and they bust through the door like, yo.
yeah.
They took off, but then they came back like, dude, we knew it.
On foot. They came back on foot. Yeah. I mean, that was clever. That was clever. I mean, Lowell's listening to the truck. He hears it drive off, and then he thinks that they're safe, and he relaxes the guard, and then
Yeah, I
Holly
mean, no one locks the door, I guess.
Yeah, it was
All you have to
interesting.
do is lock that door, and they'd be like,
and
I don't know
so
if they could break through as easily. Maybe he did lock it.
I think he did. I think he probably did because he did burst in. They did burst in. And then they're in there, and Lowell, and then Lowell's, immediately, he's like, it's like him and Holly are playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers, but those two guys are playing chess. He turns around and tells Sawyer, wants the coffee. He's treating her like a girlfriend, come over, sit on my lap. I'm, like, hey, I got a girl, and it's like the way he did it was like, and you're thinking about killing her? Yeah, I don't think. Not
he was just saying like she's not a threat. Like she's
Right.
been helping me cook. She's
right.
She's
I'm
my
Right,
girl.
I got her trained.
She's
Yep.
my girl. She's not going anywhere. She's not going to tell anybody.
So yeah, I mean, those two guys are definitely fencing, and then
He has something in that thermos that she puts in the cup.
Right. Remember
What?
that chemical? He says that if it sparks, it'll blow up.
And
So,
so,
yeah,
she put it in that metal cup.
Something.
She put it in that metal cup inside the because not the plastic cup. She went to the cupboard and got a metal cup and poured that chemical in there and put it in the microwave. And you know what happens when you put metal inside of a microwave?
Yeah, it starts sparking immediately. It doesn't wait like 3 minutes for you to get over on that dude's knee.
Right.
That shit will just start sparking. Like,
I didn't catch that it was a metal cup.
Yeah, but Buck did notice that. I mean, he and
There's
again,
something wrong with the coffee.
Right.
There's something wrong with it. Let me get over here a little bit closer to it.
Let me stare into this microwave that's sparking.
But he did try to warn him. He did try to.
Yeah, it blew up in Buck's face. Everything's burning. Everybody's hurt, smoky. Then they jumped out the door, right? And
yeah.
got something stuck in his back.
Fire.
Yeah, before the second big explosion happened.
Right. So they managed to get out. I don't know how Holly got out. Was banged up as he was. I thought he would have been a lot more toasted.
He was further out in the living room.
Yeah, and the glass went into Sawyer's into Lowell's shoulder. And he was trying to protect Sawyer, and he got glass in his back. That would have hurt like hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did something to him. I don't think he could move real good.
No, he couldn't move his arm. The glass was right on his shoulder blade. Like he couldn't move. And
I don't know. Adrenaline kind of gets you.
So then
moving.
So Buck's gone, and
R.I.P. Buck.
Yeah, R.I.P. Buck. And then we see the fight between Lowell and Holly, and we see Sawyer running, and
he tells her to run to Bishop Road.
Right.
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 The road that's the closest. Is that the 5 mile away route?
Right.
She's long distance, I guess.
And the thing is, so he didn't know that the sheriff was standing behind him and heard that, and so, he has that shotgun, which is, next to, I knew that was coming. Mr. Bell says his name is Buck, and he likes to, yeah, that's right. Or you couldn't Tarantino. Yeah.
A Kill Bill reference.
Yeah.
But, or actually, Robert Englund says that in Eaten Alive too. His name was Buck.
And he likes to, yeah. Quentin Tarantino wouldn't have an original idea on his bone in his body unless he wouldn't know.
It has to include feet, only feet. For Quentin.
I mean, if that guy had an original idea in his entire career, I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it.
He's made some pretty original films, dude.
Man, what?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
What original films has he made?
Pulp Fiction. There was no films like Pulp Fiction before Pulp Fiction was made, dude. That had a huge impact on filmmaking in general.
I'm sure there's tons of influence from Pulp Fiction from somebody else.
There's influence on everything, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Well, I haven't seen him make. I haven't seen him make.
let's
I have
see.
not seen him make a
He
movie
says
like.
to run.
Yeah, tells him to run.
Which she does.
Yeah, and
Here's the gunshot.
Holly's got that shotgun, but he's shotgun's a short range weapon, so he runs out of range of that, and then those two are fighting, and then the sheriff comes, and we don't see him come up either. We don't hear his car.
Right.
So he must have been up there for a while. Well, I think he walked up. I think he must have walked up because I'm sure Holly and Buck's truck were in the driveway. So I think he probably stopped and walked up to see what was going on. He saw the explosion. He walked up, saw those two fighting, and he decided that, you know what, he could end his problems right here, right now. And so that's what he does. He takes out, and she hears the sheriff's gun and the shotgun once, and then that's it. She knows. She knows that Lowell has given his life basically for her, and you know what? I think he's all right with that. I think he knew, and I think he was okay with that. He wasn't turning around begging for his life. He wasn't like, hey, we could work this out. This just. He was just like, you know what? I'm gonna try, and then he turns around, and then the sheriff kills him. And then the sheriff looks at Holly and sees how bad but Holly again shows off, even though Holly knew that he was probably going to be like once he realizes what the sheriff's trying to do, Holly's like, yeah, I'm not going to play your game. Pick up that shotgun. And initially he's going to pick it up, and then he's like, you know what? No, I'm not going to pick it up.
Because he's like, yeah, you're just a meth head in front of a burning meth house.
But still, it shows. Yeah, but it still shows how Holly was still thinking ahead of the game. It's like, okay, you might kill me, but I'm not going to make it easy for you. You're going to have to earn this. And Holly, he, as despicable as he was nobody's fool.
He was a fool though, because ultimately, dude's like, dude, you think I'm worried about the fucking forensics here?
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I'm just fucking with you. Like for a second, he's like, "Ooh, I found a loophole. If I don't pick up the gun, you can't shoot me." So he wasn't.
I just wanted you to think you had a chance. He said you didn't. So,
it's like Javier Bardem's character with the coin tosses and no country.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that! It actually worked.
It did, yeah.
So he gets the sheriff. He overheard where Holly told him where the girl was running to, and so the sheriff.
Yeah, she headed to the road, and that's where she finally makes it to the road and falls in front of the cop car.
Mm-hmm.
So of all the cop cars, because the state cops are out there.
They were coming, but they were coming, but they weren't going to get there in time.
Right.
But and then the sheriff and Sawyer, she realizes that it's again he realizes that Sawyer knows who he is, even though she really played it tight, as far as not knowing what she saw, who she saw, what she heard. But I think the part about the Indian and the chief, I think that reference she overheard, and then when he mentioned something like that, I wasn't sure exactly how he framed it. He noticed that she reacted to that, so he knew that.
Yeah, she was first question like, "Why aren't you calling this in immediately?"
Back up.
Yeah, but he's like, "Well, let's get all the facts first."
I feel like there was no matter what she said, he was not going to not kill her at that point.
Exactly.
Right? It was sort of like
he was going to kill her regardless. Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, when he stops the car, it's like, uh-oh. He's going to just shoot her on the road, but
no,
to the Rusty Creek.
Yeah, he knows that he can't shoot her because he's got well, I don't know why he could. I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess he must have felt the walls coming in.
Well, because he knew he was in the clear pretty much because he'd already framed the deputy.
Yeah.
You know, the meth guys, it's going to be, oh, they're just meth guys. So that was taken care of. So
Shooting each
all he had
other
to do
up
was make
there.
her look like she died of like drowning
Drowned.
in the water. She fell in. She was low on blood, whatever. I think that was how he was going to frame it up.
I
But
still, yeah,
I
I still don't think
he
he would have
also,
gotten. I don't think he would have gotten away with it. But yeah, that was his thinking. I agree with that.
well, he
Um,
knew the state troopers were on the case. They were the ones that were
Yeah,
going
you
to find
can't
the
shoot your
body,
gun.
and he can't control the forensics of that situation. So, like, he can't
Right.
use his own weapon to shoot her.
But then right at the last second, he was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna pull my gun out anyway. So, but she
because
got him before he could.
I mean,
Yeah,
think
the
about
seam
just think.
ripper or the I don't know, the stitch.
I mean, because you got to think about this here.
Little
Because
stick thing.
when he left, the house was the trailer was on fire. The smoke would be out there. There'd be
They would
somebody
see
would have.
that shit.
Yeah.
It would have been seen. Definitely would have been seen. I mean, and it would have spread. You know, you don't want that. You don't want that. I mean, it's just something that he just felt like. I think the sheriff just felt like he'd run out of time. You know, and like how in the hell is it like he had to get rid of her and then get back to that house. He had to get back to the trailer.
Yeah,
so
because
he could
wasn't there a carload of meth still up there he had to get rid of?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. He might have already packed that up in his truck. We don't really know.
True.
I thought the fight in the water, I thought that was pretty badass.
It was a little. I mean, did you see that thing she had? It was like I don't know, like you were saying, a seam ripper or a deburn tool with like basically like about an inch and an eighth or an inch and a quarter of like protrusion. Like you can't, you're not going to kill that dude by stabbing him in the fucking shoulder. You
No.
can't get. I don't think it was big enough to reach his heart if she got that lucky.
No, you got to get the neck.
Yeah, you
Right,
have to get the heart rate. Yeah.
But she just stabs him in the chest and he like immediately dies. I was like, oh. Okay.
She must have popped him like Steve Irwin,
With a
Yeah.
stingray, a poison
kind of
stingray
right in
bar.
the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that one either. I was like, how's that gonna how is she gonna be able to kill him with that little little screwdriver or whatever?
They may have been hoping us as the viewers were going to overlook that.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be.
But they made a whole point of making that like they were obviously like they made a whole point of that being a mechanism like from the very get go. You like why wouldn't it have just been like a knife or something? Like
Yeah.
like an actual knife that you could actually stab someone's heart with if that happened. But,
Yeah.
but they're like, yeah, here's an implement. Like it might as well have been just like a key from a keychain or something. Like
True.
Right. The ending scene of Sawyer coming back to the road and then starting to
All the
walk.
troopers finally find her and follow
Right,
her
she's
up
walking
the road.
straight ahead. Like, yeah, I love the ending. I thought the ending scene was great. Like she got in here on her own, and she got out of it on her own.
Look
And
at
you
that.
showed how strong she was because it wasn't
It
like she
really
was
was.
falling down the road crying, breaking down. She was just like, I'm going to walk this route.
Yeah, she was.
and all the state troopers are all like, okay, we'll just like she started a parade. Let's just follow her, guys.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
Yeah. They're like,
I
is
love
every
the
week.
ending. I thought the ending scene was badass. I did. I thought it was cool as hell. She walked out. She got her head up there. She just went through a week of hell, and she's the last man standing. Last woman standing. So
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a strong ending. I thought it was very strong, and I really I liked it. I thought it was I thought it was all right.
I liked her kick-assery.
Mm-hmm. I like this movie. I think Mary, you picked a hell of a movie for this month for sure.
I enjoyed it. I watched it a couple times.
Yeah,
It was
this
an
is
enjoyable movie.
yeah, I really enjoyed this. There are more. As crime dramas go, IFC does put out a few. This is not the first. This is not the first time that we have revisited crime. We watched Golden July. Remember that one, Ben?
Yeah.
That was a badass movie too.
Golden
And we
July.
do have more. Huh?
With the snuff
Cold in July. I think.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Golden July had Sam Shepard, Don Johnson and the guy who played Dexter, Michael C. Hall.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Badass movie.
that guy's badass. The guy that plays Dexter, he's badass. He did that like the last season. He had cancer.
Yeah, he beat cancer.
Yes, he did.
Michael C. Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
And
I
that
didn't-
girl that played his sister was his wife in
Um,
there.
Jennifer
For a little
Carpenter.
while.
Jennifer
Yeah,
Carpenter.
a little skinny lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's so skinny.
Yeah, she's a pretty good actress, Jennifer Carpenter. She's interesting.
Maybe like that series.
Have you seen Brawl in Cell Block 99? Is that what it's called?
With Vince Vaughn.
No.
Vince Vaughn and Don Johnson, and she plays his wife in it. That's a kick-ass movie. If you haven't
I
seen
have
it,
it.
I have it.
watched it yet.
Yeah,
it's like definitely. It's by the director of Bone Tomahawk.
Ooh,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The film he
I like
did
that
after,
one.
and it's it classifies as, I don't know, it's horror adjacent for sure. It's brutal as fuck. That's for
Okay.
sure. It's
People
like
sleep on Vince Vaughn as a dramatic actor. Vince Vaughn has done some really good dramatic movies.
his Norman Bates, Chef's Kiss.
Chef's kiss.
I saw him do one movie. The first time I saw him do a dramatic role was Domestic Disturbance with John Travolta. Man, he was not to be
I
fooled
don't
with.
remember that one.
They switched the characters because Vince Vaughn at the time, everybody knew as a lovable
Oh,
improvised.
wait,
singer.
yes. Okay, wait.
And then
I
he came
do
on there and
remember
he
seeing
played-
that.
And then John Travolta played the good guy where he normally plays the bad guy. They flipped it over and made John Travolta the good guy and Vince Vaughn the bad guy.
Did a
And,
face off.
Yeah. Then they have Steve Buscemi in there.
Yeah.
Semi. That's it. Face
Space off. So final impressions about Rust Creek.
What you think?
Mary,
I
you
liked it
picked the
very
movie.
much.
Yeah. What would you rate the movie? What would you rank it? Wait, what would you rate it?
I'm like an 8. I like this one. I like Our House. I like the Werewolves Within's always top on my movies on the IFC so far. But where was that? When Evil Lurks movie? That thing looks crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm still
I've
hoping
seen
to
it.
get that. I'm still
it's
hoping to
wild.
get that. I'm still hoping to get the Late Night with the Devil. IFC does a lot of movies with the word devil in it. If you notice that or not.
That's because they're part of the Grove, dude. They're devil worshippers.
Yeah, I guess.
Hollywood cabal.
Let's see. I'm gonna.
Mandala. What is it? Mbadala. Is it Chucky's Chucky's boss? Dumbala.
No, I noticed that when people started they started talking about this movie, and I'm going like, you know what? They have a lot of movies. They have a lot of movies with the devil in it. And I thought about it, well, like, how many have we done with the devil? And I'm going like, well,
I don't think we did a devil. Is it Devil's Due one of them?
Let's see. We had
One of them.
we had
The Gate. Devil's.
let's see, we had Hellgate. That was demons. But
Kinda
as far
devilly.
as the devil in the title, though, we've had the Devil's Doorway. We had Devil's Candy. We had I Trapped the Devil.
Oh, I Trapped the Devil.
Yeah,
That
we
was
had
decent.
I Trapped the Devil. Yeah. So we've had our fair share of definitely our fair share of and supernatural ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Haas, what would you rate this movie?
I'd say 8's a fair number for this one. Like I said, it was really entertaining, and there were a few things, as we mentioned, that was kind of a little,
The leg
But yeah, I mean,
was
I
cut
enjoyed
and
it.
then not cut and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't. It's like, oh, her wound moved.
Continuity. How about you, Ben?
I'd knock it down a little bit further down from 8 because I thought it was a solid film. It was pretty well acted and well made, but it was a little derivative, I felt, of like a bunch of films I had seen. And then the clumsy sort of exposition with like the thermos and the her stabbing implement, I felt was just a little, I don't know, because I'm not a dude who watches stuff and tries to figure it out. Like if I go, oh, that's obviously gonna come back in the third
Yeah,
act.
you knew it was gonna come back.
Yeah.
in there.
Then
Yeah.
Sure.
But it was solid. I give it a 7.5.
Okay.
It was good. I was also not quite I wasn't in the right mood, I think, when I watched it either for that particular type of film. But
I got you.
I'll go with Mary and Haas and go with an 8. I thought it was a very well made movie.
I would have said a 7.5, but I always say that because I like these IFC movies. You know, it's hard to go high or low because I don't want to go, oh well, shit, I gave the other one an 8. Now this one's better. Now I can't go any higher if it's.
I thought the acting was great. I thought the script was good.
That's why I gave a higher number is because of the acting.
The acting was really. The sheriff and Lowell and Sawyer and to a lesser extent Holly. I thought all the characters were developed. All those characters were developed. I mean, you knew about who they were, what they were about. They weren't just paper cutouts. I mean, they were developed. They're fully developed. We knew who they were, their personalities, and everything else. That's rare.
Mm-hmm.
That's rare. We don't really get that kind of like fully developed character, and it's like it's what really made this movie stand out for me was the fact that we got to know these people, who these people were. And and congratulations to Jen McGowan. Just let you guys know that I did reach out to Daniel Hill, and I was trying to get him to come on here and surprise us but he couldn't make it. But I did try.
They have lives.
He did think that it was rather cool that we thought about him and have him come out and hang out with us. Daniel Hill, great actor.
Yeah, they all did good.
Mm-hmm. They did. They really did. I just this is a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. Congratulations again, Mary, for picking out another winner.
Thank you.
And now we get to see The Damned, and that will be on. Not Damned. That will be on May 26th on Horror with Haas's channel, and we will be watching The Damned.
It'll be an interesting one to discuss. So.
I'm sure. You have picked out some really awesome movies. Ben will be in June. Ben will be will be hosting the show in June and picking out the movie as well. And if we know anything about Haas and Ben, they pick out some seriously wicked shit. That's for sure. Yeah.
What's the movie we're watching? The Damned from 2024.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it from 2024?
I don't. Let me look at the date here.
I got my copy from Hamilton Book actually.
Can't see that.
Let me see the cover.
It's not the best.
It's
this one.
I'll just put.
Why is it in German?
That came out in 2013. The Damned, also known as Gallows Hills, is a 2013 horror film directed by Victor Garcia.
Yeah, the Gallows Hills. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
that sounds good.
And it stars Peter Fasinelli and Sophia Myles. I love you, Haas. That's awesome. I love Sophia Myles. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be so cool. Oh my gosh, this looks absolutely crazy.
Yeah, sounds good.
Where's
it? Is it streaming anywhere?
I believe so.
On Tubi.
I'll see if it's on Tubi.
It is on Tubi.
Yeah, I love Tubi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was on Tubi for sure. And then It has like AMC Plus.
Yeah, The Damned, it's like
like that.
$12.99. Jesus. What the?
That's on Prime, but it is on Tubi,
Good, I'll watch it there. I'll put it on my list.
Mhm.
allegedly.
Allegedly. That's what it's telling us. Well, thank you for having me. That was good. I liked that movie, though.
Yep.
And this next one looks so good.
Yeah, the
Can't
dam
wait.
looks absolutely. The dam looks really, really cool.
I made a
Love that.
picture.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that Nightmare on Elm Street,
Right
Yeah.
before the shit hits the fan on Johnny
Yeah,
Depp.
or the
You know,
blood hits the
he
ceiling.
thought
He's kicking back. He's relaxing.
he thought he was
He's
getting
on
some
his
rest.
bed.
You know what? He's probably watching us do the IFC Midnight show.
Woo! And then I have you now. And then I made this one.
Gee, was it Nightmare Alley?
Oh yeah,
Castle.
Oh, Nightmare Castle. Nice.
very
Real
nice.
quick, what do you guys got going on in your channels this week?
That's it. Nothing for me.
Huh? You got anything?
Jack,
You got anything?
And shit. That wasn't even close, dude. What
I
the-
know.
You see your thumb and it's like, that's it. When you do the
Yeah.
2 thumbs up, it does it too.
Oh, look at that.
Whoa,
When I do peace signs, I get balloons, I think, or confetti.
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 Just one peace sign
Nice.
balloons.
Wow. Well, how'd you do
Happy
that?
birthday.
Peace signs is confetti. One thumb up is just a little thought bubble.
Whoop.
I mean, if we do that on
I
if
kept
we do
seeing
that,
it.
if we do that on our channel, that's what we do that now. Oh,
Mm-mm.
nope.
Nope. Only on his phone or on his computer.
Wow.
I think it's
I'm on
with
my
his.
phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh, look at that, man. Look at
Rock
Ben.
ball, dude.
Rock.
Oh yeah.
Look at it. It looks like it's really your laser that you have behind you all the time.
It's like a mazer. That'll make Casey happy.
Mazer. It's a mazer.
Interweb Kaiju. There you go. There's a mazer right there.
Mazer, that's what they used to attack Godzilla and other kaiju.
we have a lot of fun with mazers. Haas, what's going on with your channel this week?
I'll definitely have another haul video coming, and hopefully get a review up as well that I've been wanting to get up. So
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get another dollar theater from the big Haas.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I got another mystery box coming. That's about all I
Yeah,
got.
can't wait for that too. Yeah, your first one was really fun.
Yeah, I was like, watch me get Men in Black, and then I did.
Yeah.
I
Ben,
knew that, but I don't have it on DVD, so it's okay. It's cool. And then
Yeah.
they got me Men in Black 2 with it. It's like, all right.
hmm
you're gonna get the whole franchise. You're gonna get the whole franchise.
Sure.
I'm telling you.
I need some of those Pirates of the Caribbeans. I have like 2, and then when I find them, I buy
Which
them,
one-
and then it's like I already have the same damn 2. I keep.
Which one? Which ones
Yeah.
do you need? Which ones do you need? The last 2 or?
I don't even know. I just know I have one with the guy with the octopus beard. I think I'm missing that one.
Davy Jones. Okay. Oh. So
I
that's
forget which one it is. Is he?
yeah. I think the third one. The third one was at World's End. That's where they faced the
Okay.
British Navy. And then the fourth one, that was the one with Penelope Cruz on it. And
Yeah, I got Dead Man's Chest.
yeah, that's the one, Davy Jones.
And then I have
That's
the
the
first.
second one, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Is
first.
That's
it?
the first one.
Okay.
That's
I
the
got
first
one
one.
too.
So you need 3. So you need 3 and 4.
The other ones, I'm missing all the other ones.
Well,
there.
wasn't there a fifth one? The Dead Men Tell No Tales or something.
Right.
Was that? I thought. What was the fourth one then?
I love that
On,
ride.
did you say on Stranger Tides yet?
Oh, that's right. So there are Stranger
Oh,
Tides.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's 5.
There's
I
one
thought there
with
were 4.
Penelope Cruz in it.
Yeah. So you need 3 more. I'll keep my eye out. I see them once in a while at the library. So I'll definitely keep an eye
They
on.
might come in my box. You never know.
I don't know how they're going to do that when they're too busy putting the Men in Black in it.
Oh man, I better not. That and Spider-Man's. I keep getting Spider-Man. It's like I don't have Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3, but those are like I don't have the newer ones, and I would like to watch the newer ones with the Holland and Zendaya and all that. I haven't seen any of those yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many of those come through. I've gotten a lot of superhero movies through the library. I see them. I see them a lot more now. A lot of people are giving them up, but I have
The
not
other
seen.
ones, they're depressing.
Yeah.
Like,
you
God,
can
I
find.
won't watch the Andrew Garfield ones.
You can find a lot of them
Not
on
bad.
the
I don't
Whatnot
mind him.
app if you've never been on there. There's a lot of sellers that they're usually selling the superhero movies and, like I said, Pirates of the Caribbean. Those.
What's it called again? What's about?
No, the Whatnot app. I don't know if you ever heard, but if you've seen
Whatnot
my
app?
pickup videos, yeah. But it's basically like an auction thing where they give you like so many seconds to bid on it, and usually you're getting stuff a lot cheaper than you would if you were buying it secondhand in a store, or paying full price when it first comes out.
Are you
Whatever.
getting stuff for 25 cents?
Not that cheap,
And
no.
that's quite a deal. I wish my library had that.
Well, usually it starts at like $1 or $2 and goes up from there, just depending on how people are bidding.
I did find one IFC movie, but it's like I hate Valentine's Day.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
It's a Blockbuster exclusive.
Nice.
Very nice. I got an IFC movie too last Tuesday. I got Angels of Sex, which is listed as an IFC Midnight movie, but it's a drama. I have no idea how they listed it as midnight. Ben, what's going on your channel, buddy? I know you got something cooking.
Nothing really. No, making music and posting it on Instagram's about it.
Hey, so you probably, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I've been doing a little bit more band interviews and stuff like that lately on the channel. Would you be into it to come out and hang out and talk music?
Yeah, I'm usually down to hang out and talk music.
Hell yeah. Okay, because I got this band I got right now, just booked them they're from Portland, and they're called Camp Crush. I'll send you the information, and why don't you come out and hang out with me on 8 Questions?
I'm usually down to chill.
He'll go like this.
Something that walk show.
Right.
Dang. Yeah, they have a really good sound, and it's fun. I'm trying to get them to see if they can strip down their set and just doing like an acoustic set, but I'm not sure if they can or not. But it doesn't matter. We still can talk music, and and I know you have questions, and I'll send you all the information, Spotify page and YouTube stuff and everything else. It'll be on Tuesday, May 14th, and I'd love to have you on. I've been thinking about that since I'm doing more bands. I'm going like,
I might be in New York. I don't know what dates I'm going to be gone in May, but I'm going to be in New York for a bit.
Okay.
So if I'm on the road, I probably won't be able to do it. But
who'd you get the Kaijus at?
I'm just basically going to leave them on their own. Hope they don't throw a wild party.
You better leave them the pizza number.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls, that's going to be it for us. Thank you for coming up and watching the show. If you're here on replay, we do this the IFC Midnights. We do this on the last Sunday of every month at 8 o'clock. We rotate among the different hosts. Next month, we will be visiting Haas. Haas will be hosting us for we watch and discuss The Damned from 2013. Thank you again for your support. We really do appreciate it. Share us out of the IFC show, and we will see you on May 26th, 8 o'clock. Till then, be safe and don't go driving careless in Kentucky.
Peace out, y'all.
All right.
Bye. Sweaty.